all, welcome to Homeschool. How are you doing? Hope you people are busy with your preparation for your examination. And to help you out, I have come up with application series where I will be doing all application based questions on every chapter, every science chapter. I have already covered few chapters and this is another chapter. Say, I have come up with the most important chapter, that is the periodic classification of elements. So today I will be covering few important questions, few application questions where it was asked many times in the previous year board examinations. Okay, fine. And before that, I would like to tell you that you please join us with Telegram group so that you can have access to us. You can share your doubts. We will try to give answers, and you can clarify many of your doubts relating to a subject. So definitely do join with us in Telegram, and also you can watch the channel. All the chapters are there in a channel. Its playlist links are provided in the description. If you want any concept clarity on a particular topic, you just have to go to the playlist, click on a particular concept so that you will get thorough with your concepts. Clear? Okay, so let us start with the questions. You can see the very first question on periodic classification of elements. The most important model, the elements of the second period of the periodic table are given below. Elements of the second period. So what are the elements they have given? They gave you lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine. Okay. They are asking you, give reason to explain why atomic radii decreases from lithium to fluorine. Right? So let us discuss answer for first sub question. Atomic radii, which is nothing but atomic size. They said it is decreasing from lithium to fluorine. Why? Yes, atomic size decreases from left to right in a periodic table. Yes or no? This is what the concept we studied. And I have given a beautiful explanation on this atomic size concept. You can go to the playlist of the chapter, and there you will find a video on atomic size. You will get clear explanation why actually the atomic size is decreasing from left to right. Okay, so now I will explain briefly how much ever is necessary. Fine. So why do atomic size decreases from left to right? It is because effective nuclear charge increases. So what is the answer that you can write here? Effective nuclear charge increases. That is the reason atomic size decreases. So now tell me, what do you mean by effective nuclear charge? It is nothing but total positive charge of the nucleus is called effective nuclear charge. It is the positive charge of the nucleus. Nucleus will have a positive charge because inside the nucleus we have so-called protons, isn't it? Because protons are there inside the nucleus, nucleus will have a positive charge. As you go from left to right, that is from lithium to beryllium, beryllium to boron, to carbon, to nitrogen, to oxygen and fluorine, what happens is, the electron goes to a same shell. Okay, so the electrons are added to a same shell. At the same time, proton number also increases. Increase in proton number increases the positive charge of the nucleus. Okay, as the positive charge of the nucleus increases, you will find a very nice attraction between nucleus and the last shell. When there is an attraction between nucleus and the last shell would move near to the nucleus, and that decreases the atomic size, isn't it? So after all, what do you mean by atomic size? It is the distance between the nucleus and the last shell. Valence shell is called as atomic radii or atomic size. So as the attraction increases between the nucleus and last shell would move more near to the nucleus, and that leads to the decrease of atomic size. So this is the actual answer. So you just can write it in a single sentence, that is effective nuclear charge increases, so atomic size decreases from left to right. Clear? Okay. Let us go for the second sub question. Identify the most metallic element. So which is the most metallic element? Definitely most metallic is our lithium, isn't it? So can you tell me why lithium is most metallic? Because lithium has more electropositive property. Okay, we say lithium has electropositivity. What do you mean by electropositivity? It means that ability to lose electrons is called electropositivity. Anything that is losing electrons during chemical reactions, anything that has very nice ability to lose the electrons is called as metal, right? Metals always loses electrons. So this lithium can nicely lose its electron. That is what we mean by electropositivity. So it has more electropositivity. So I can say this is most metallic, right? And which is non-metallic element? Non-metallic. So definitely non-metallic among these guys is, our fluorine, because it is the most electronegative element. I have given the reason also here. Why fluorine is non-metallic? Because this is electronegative. Okay, it doesn't has ability to lose the electron during chemical reaction. Instead, it will take electrons from others. It will grab electrons from others. So that grabbing electrons from others is called as electronegative. Okay, say the elements which are present on left side of the periodic table are always metallic. That means they have more tendency to lose the electron, and the elements which are present on the right side of the periodic table are non-metallic. That means they are electronegative in nature. Okay, so this is the concept of size, metallic and non-metallic property. Clear? Fine. Let us go for question number 2. See, some table is given here. You can check it out. We have 16th group elements and 17th group elements, isn't it? Say there are certain gaps, and here and there they have mentioned A, B, C. Say at the end there is an element B, and here first element gap A, again gap, again C, right? So this was the given information. And see the questions they are asking. Give reasons. Explain the following. Element A is a non-metal. Okay, element A. First, let us try to figure out what is this element A. See here, what is the first element under 17th group? Fluorine. Next element is what? Chlorine. So our element A is nothing but chlorine, right? And what is this element? Gap element, bromine. And the next element is iodine. So our A is chlorine, C is iodine. So these are called halogens which come under 17th group. Say you have to remember periodic table, at least few elements that I told you in one of my video. If you observe, I think it's a third video, I have explained like at least what elements you have to remember for 10th grade. Okay, so those elements, position, group wise and period wise, try to remember. Say these are our 17th group elements. Okay, so what they are asking, element A is a non-metal. Yes, definitely element A is non-metal. Why they are asking? Because all these elements are electronegative. Electronegative. Okay, and they are small in size. They are small in size. We have just now studied from left to right side of the periodic table, size decreases. Say this is our 17th group, elements have small size. Always size is connected to electronegativity property. smaller the size, more is the electronegative property. Remember this? Smaller the size, electronegative property is more. Bigger the size. This is a trick I'm telling you to remember. So if you can remember, you can give better answers in the periodic table chapter. So smaller the size, electronegativity is more. Electronegativity is more means non-metallic nature. Non-metallic nature is also more. Okay. Bigger the size, what happens? Electronegativity decreases. Metallic nature is more. Metallic nature is more. So this is what the concept that is linked with the size. Okay, say 17th group elements come right side of the periodic table, smaller is the size, so more electronegative in the sense it will behave as non-metal. Okay, fine. Second sub question, B. Element B has larger atomic size than element C, right? So element B is coming in a 16th group, element C is coming in a 17th group. They are telling B has larger size than C. Why they are asking? Because just now we studied our size increases. I'm writing answer for B question. Size decreases, isn't it? Decreases from left to right. Yes or no? See, our 16th group elements are coming to our left side and 17th group to our right side. See, as you go from this end to this end, left to right, our size will decrease. Based on that, we can say B is larger in size compared to C. Okay. Coming to the question C. Element C has valency of 1. Okay, element C is nothing but our iodine. What they are telling is its valency is 1. Yes or no? So why it has valency 1 they are asking. All 17th group elements have valency 1. It means, what do you mean by valency? Number of electrons present in the outermost shell is called valency. Or I can also define this in another sense. Number of electrons lost or number of electrons gained during a chemical reaction is called valency. That way also we can define, and you can watch my full video on valency in the chapter. You will get very clear idea about the topic. Okay, so they are telling our element iodine has a valency 1. Why? Because these elements have a ability to take 1 electron during a chemical reaction. Number of electrons lost or number of electrons gained is valency. So how many electrons these elements will gain? They have gaining ability. Okay, because they are all electronegative. They take electrons from others. So how many electrons will they take from others? Just 1 electron. Okay. So what is the answer you can give? The element takes 1 electron, or I can say the element gains 1 electron. 1 electron during chemical reaction. During chemical reaction. So the element C has valency 1. Okay, fine. So this is all about our second question. Now let us go for the third question. Say here A, B, C, D, E. There are 5 sub questions. See the question number A. Why do we classify elements? So why we have to classify the elements in the form of periodic table? It is because to avoid chaos, isn't it? That means confusion. If we don't classify the elements according to their properties, it would become very difficult to know about those elements, isn't it? Because a periodic table is there, study of chemistry has become very much easy. Study of elements has become very much easy. Otherwise, we would end up with lots of confusion in studying these elements, right? So it is to avoid confusion. Definitely, there is a need to classify the elements. Okay, second sub question. What were the 2 criteria used by Mendeleev in creating his periodic table? So it's like the question is, on what basis the Mendeleev has classified the elements? Okay, so there are two criteria, there are two bases here. First one is he considered atomic mass as a criteria. Atomic mass, yes or no? He classified the elements in the increasing order of atomic masses. Increasing order of atomic masses, isn't it? And the second one is he started reacting every element with hydrogen and oxygen. So based on the reactions of elements with hydrogen and oxygen. See, during Mendeleev's time, 62 elements were available. All the 62 elements, he reacted with hydrogen, noted what compound has obtained, and later he reacted the elements with oxygen also, and he noted down the formula of the oxide that he had got, and based on the similarities between the elements in showing the reaction with hydrogen and oxygen, he classified the elements, isn't it? So these are the two criteria used by Mendeleev in classifying the elements into various groups and periods, isn't it? Okay. And C, question C, why did Mendeleev leave some gaps in his periodic table? So here and there, Mendeleev has given a few gaps. For example, Eka silicon, Eka boron. Here and there, many gaps were there. It is because for newly discovered element, isn't it? If the element is newly discovered, then we must give a place for that newly discovered element in the future. That's the reason, Mendeleev has left certain gaps, isn't it? In Mendeleev's periodic table, why there was no noble gases like helium, neon, and argon? Actually, in his original periodic table, he did not mention position for noble gases because during his time, noble gases were not discovered. So, what is the answer for the fourth question? Noble gases were not discovered during Mendeleev's time. Okay, so that is the reason he could not give positions for the noble gases. Fine. Next, last question. Would you place the two isotopes, chlorine 35 and chlorine 37, in different slots because of their different atomic masses, or in the same slot because of their chemical properties are same? Justify your answer. So they are asking, in the Mendeleev's periodic table, do you place these isotopes separately or same? If you place them separately, what is the reason? If you place them in a same slot, what is the reason? On what basis? This is what you have to give the answer. Say, Mendeleev's periodic table is mainly considered, the atomic mass. We arrange the elements in the increasing order of atomic mass. Here in the isotopes, masses are different. Say, based on Mendeleev's criteria. Yes or no? What is our Mendeleev's criteria? This is our Mendeleev's criteria. Based on Mendeleev's criteria, you have to place isotopes in different slots. You have to place isotopes in different slots, isn't it? Because their atomic masses are different, isn't it? But in the modern periodic table, after Mendeleev, we had got modern periodic table where we did not place isotopes separately because we considered atomic number for the modern periodic table. Isotopes are those guys which have different atomic mass but same atomic number, right? Isotopes have similar chemical properties also, so they must be placed in a same slot. Since they have similar chemical properties, they must be placed in a same slot. Okay, so this is the major limitation for Mendeleev's periodic table. Yes or no? Say he did not place isotopes in a different slots. You have to place if you consider their atomic masses because they are different. But he did not place the isotopes in a different slots. That is actually the major limitation for Mendeleev's periodic table. But if you consider modern periodic table, since they have same chemical properties, their atomic number is same, they will come in a same slot. That you will observe in modern periodic table, right? Okay. So that's all about your third question. And coming to the fourth question, very good question actually. In the following table, 6 elements A, B, C, D, E and F are given. Okay. And you can see some table there. And they are asking 3 questions. Okay. And first, looking at the table, let us figure it out. What is this A, B, C, D, E and F? You see here A. Okay. Say element A is there. Element A, and later you have 11 and element B is there. That means element A and B are coming in this particular group where 11 is there. 11th element is there. Can you tell me the element which has got atomic number 11? Definitely atomic number 11 is for sodium. Yes or no? So which element comes above sodium and which comes below sodium? Definitely your A must be lithium and B must be potassium. Isn't it? Okay, let us write here. A is lithium and B is potassium. Fine. And next let us figure it out what is C and D. Okay. See, you see here C is coming here somewhere in the element with atomic number 12, isn't it? So element which has got atomic number 12 is magnesium. Below magnesium, which element comes? That is calcium. So your C is nothing but calcium, isn't it? So definitely you should have some idea about periodic table. Otherwise it becomes very difficult to answer, right? Fine. And now let us imagine what is that D. And D is there in a group where 14th element is there. So atomic number 14 is for which element? Silicon, isn't it? Below silicon, your D is there. So what is D? D is our germanium. Below silicon, we have the element germanium. Fine. And now what is E? Definitely element E is there in a group where 16th element is there. So what is the 16th element? Atomic number 16 element is sulfur, isn't it? So E is there above sulfur. So above sulfur, which element you will find? Oxygen. So our E is oxygen. And what is this F? F is nothing but bromine, because F is there below the element chlorine. Yes or no? 17th element in a periodic table is chlorine. Below chlorine, which element would be there? Definitely it is bromine. And one more element G is there, right? So element G is nothing but neon, because that G is coming in a group where 18th element is there. Our 18th element is argon. So above argon, you have the element neon. Okay. So for this question, you should definitely have knowledge on periodic table. Okay. So we got to know our A is lithium, B is potassium, C is calcium, D is germanium, E is oxygen, F is bromine, G is neon. Okay. Let us see the questions that they are asking. Which of these element is halogen? So which is halogen among them? Definitely F, element F, that is bromine, belongs to a group called halogen. Okay, fine. And which of them is a noble gas? Noble gas is what? Definitely our neon. Neon is called noble gas. 18th group elements are called noble gases. Right? Okay. Next question, B question. If B combines with F, what would be the formula of the compound formed? If B combines with F, what is B? Potassium. What is F? Bromine. So if potassium combines with bromine, you will get the ionic compound KBr, just like NaCl. Okay, say if potassium combines with bromine, you will get the ionic compound. This is ionic compound. That also they can ask you which type of compound you will get, ionic or covalent. Definitely you will get ionic compound. So what is the formula? KBr. Fine. Third one, write the electronic configuration of C and E. What is C? Calcium. What is E? Oxygen. So calcium's electronic configuration, atomic number 20, right? So I can write 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2. So did I give position for the 20 electrons? 6 plus 4, 10. 6 plus 4, 10. Okay, 20. Or you can also write this as 2, 8, 8, 2. Okay, so this pattern of writing electronic configuration is also fine, right? If you are writing it in this pattern, you have to write this very, very carefully, right? Fine. So that's all about our fourth question. Let us go for question number 5. Question number 5, which is more or less similar to the previous question. So some table has given where 8 elements are there, A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H, and they are asking a set of questions. So first, let us figure it out. What is that A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H? Isn't it? See, they have given period number and group number. See, group 1 and group 2 elements. Group 1 elements. So, in group 1, they have A, B, C, D. Atomic number is given. So, atomic number of A is 3. So, which element has got atomic number 3? Definitely lithium. So, below lithium, you will have sodium, potassium and rubidium. So your A is lithium, B is sodium, C is potassium and D is rubidium. Isn't it? So similarly in group 2, so what elements are there in group 2? You have E, F, G and H. Okay, so what is the atomic number of E they gave you? Atomic number of E is 4. So which element has atomic number 4? It is beryllium. Below beryllium you have magnesium, calcium and strontium. Right? So these are your E, F, G and H. Okay. So let us see the questions that they are asking. What is the electronic configuration of F? So what is our F here? Magnesium. What is its atomic number? 12. Electronic configuration is what? Magnesium's electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. So did I give position for the 12 electrons? 6 plus 2 plus 2, 10, 12. Yes, you can also write 2, 8, 2. So this also can be written as electronic configuration. Fine. Next question. What is the number of valence electrons in the atom of F? So F is again our magnesium. So how many valence electrons are there? Just to see the last shell, that is the third shell. How many electrons are there? 2 are there. So definitely number of valence electrons are 2. 2 valence electrons. Right? Okay. Let us see the C question. Write the sizes of atoms E, F, G, H. E, F, G, H in decreasing order. State whether F is a metal or non-metal. Okay. First, let us arrange E, F, G, H in the decreasing order. Means more size to less size way. Okay. So, which of them has more size? We have studied in a group, size increases from top to bottom. So what happens for the size? Size always increases from top to bottom. So among these elements, which has more size? Definitely H. So H has more atomic size than G has more atomic size than F has more atomic size than E. Yes or no? So this is the decreasing order. And they are also asking whether F is metal or non-metal. Definitely F is metal, because during chemical reaction it can able to lose 2 electrons. Okay, so anything that has ability to lose the electrons are called metals. Fine. And coming to the next sub question. Out of the 3 elements B, E, F, what is B? B is sodium, E is beryllium, F is magnesium. Okay, which one has the biggest atomic size? Definitely the biggest atomic size is sodium, that is B, because atomic size, as you go from left to right, atomic size decreases, no? So group 1 elements are always bigger than group 2 elements. Okay, so since our B, that is sodium, is coming in group 1, B is always bigger than group 2 elements. Okay, so this is how you have to answer for that 5th question. Coming to the 6th question, very simple one. Atomic numbers of 3 elements X, Y, Z is given. There are 3 elements X, Y and Z. So what are the atomic numbers given? Atomic number of X is 9. Atomic number of Y is 11. Atomic number of Z is 17. Isn't it? Okay. Which two of these elements will show similar chemical properties and why? Okay, let us figure it out which element is 9th element in our periodic table. So atomic number 9 is for fluorine. Atomic number 11 is for which element? Sodium, isn't it? And atomic number 17 is for chlorine. Okay, they are asking among X, Y, Z, which two elements show similar chemical properties? Definitely fluorine and chlorine have similar chemical properties because they are coming in same groups. Whichever element that come in a same group, say fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, all these are coming in 17th group, isn't it? So the elements belonging to same group will have similar chemical properties. Okay, so these are the two elements belonging to the same group, so they will show similar chemical properties. Fine. That's all about our 6th question. Okay. And coming to the 7th question. Very simple. How does the valency of elements vary in going down a group? Okay. As you go from top to bottom, what happens for the valency? Will it increases or decreases? No. Valency remains same. Yes or no? Valency remains same when you go from top to bottom. Yes or no? In a group, because in a group, what happens is the number of valence electrons will not change, isn't it? So all these elements have same capacity of losing electron or gaining electron. If fluorine can gain 1 electron during chemical reaction, chlorine also gains 1 electron only, bromine also gains 1 electron only, iodine also gains 1 electron only, because all of them will have same number of valence electrons. Okay, fine. Next, what happens for valency in going from left to right in a periodic table? So if you go from left to right, what will happen to the valency? Will it increases, decreases or remains the same? You have to tell. Okay, so actually what happens is valency increases because number of valence electrons in the last shell, as you go from left to right, what happens? Increases. Valency always increases from left to right. Okay, so this is the answer for the 7th question. So with this, I have covered all the topics that come under a chapter. So any application based question that they ask in the examination more or less looks similar to these questions that I have solved in the video. So you can refer these questions. If you can answer such type of questions without anybody's help, I think you are perfect with this particular chapter for your examination. Hope this has given enough benefit for you. Do like our videos if you get maximum benefit out of it, and subscribe our channel to have 100% concept clarity on each and every topic of 10th science and mathematics. Fine. Let us meet up with the next chapter, and I have selected carbon and its compounds as the next chapter. Do watch that video. Definitely you will enjoy and you get that 100% satisfaction. Definitely you will get maximum benefit, and thanks for watching. All the best.